it's interesting you're talking about that as well. I mean, in connection to that, like night before last, I went to see an old friend's one man show at Norwich Arts Centre, where we did the first
Mm.
Humbling live. And Simeon Morris, I've known him since I was a teenager. And he took his one man show, it's called Square Peg. It's very much about masculinity, or masculinity is a key element of it. He took it to Edinburgh Fringe and won a First at the Fringe award. Had a really kind of great critical reception. And he was bringing it home, basically, having done,
Mm.
a couple of dozen shows at the Fringe and a couple in London. He was like bringing it back to his hometown. And it was really powerful. It was very poignant, but it was essentially talking about how when he was a teenager, or when he was about 10, actually, he's a bit younger, his dad had said to him, I was castigating him one day, and his dad said to him, women are better than men. That's one thing you have to learn in life. And for Simeon, at a very impressionable age, the way he describes it in the show was that led him down a pathway of venerating the feminine. And he wasn't homosexual, wasn't gay, but
Mm.
he wore women's clothing. He wore makeup. For him, that was the empowering thing because women were better than men. And it led him into a very creative career as a fashion designer, wanting to make these beautiful dresses out of the most simple components and elements. And it was a really amazing show about identity and about how you can define your identity through your creativity, but also this sort of the challenge of masculinity when in the absence of a empathetic and relatable male role model, who actually, I think, isolated him in some way. But yeah, it sort of builds on what you were saying about
Yeah.
Hamish Lang. There's a sort of a darkness at the heart of it. But in the end, it was quite redemptive because
Yeah.
for Simeon, it all came out, through creativity. It was like that's how he found his expression and his comfort within himself.
That's just fascinating to hear somebody or to hear about somebody telling that kind of story of the experiences that shaped them and, you know,
Incredibly vulnerable. I mean, I thought I came away going, that was really courageous,
yeah,
because I mean, I know these kind of memoir type shows are quite popular, or these
sure.
performances are quite popular, but that's because they feel so authentic.
Hmm.
Because you're listening to someone talking really honestly and tenderly about the things that they've wrestled with through their lives. And I don't think it's solipsistic. I mean, it could be, or it could be a bit narcissistic, but actually, I think he did it brilliantly and took us to very dark places and then leavened it with humor quite judiciously, So it was both sort of punchy and funny.